Welcome to the Mark the Greatest channel. Today, I really want to talk about um, saving money is a scam. I really want to talk about saving money, keeping money in banks and like in an account, like a savings account, is a scam. And I say that it's a scam because um, a lot of people put money in the savings accounts or their checking account, and their money is being eaten by interest. And what do I mean? Their money is being eaten by inflation because a dollar today worth is not a dollar today is not going to be a dollar tomorrow. So a dollar today is going to be less than a dollar. It's going to be more than a dollar tomorrow. Let me say that again. A dollar today will cost more than a dollar tomorrow. So basically, the purchasing power of a dollar today is not going to be the same as it is tomorrow because it's going to be less tomorrow. Why? Because the purchasing power of cash is dropping. Cash is being printed every single day, by who? The U.S. Treasury. So that's why I say, like, saving money is a scam. Now, it's good to have money aside. I'm not saying it's a scam entirely. It's good to have it aside. It's good to save money, but you have to be intentional on how you're saving money. What's going on, guys? What's going on? Somebody's in the chat. I'm talking about saving money is a scam, I think. What do you think? Do you think saving money is a scam? Like, what do you think about it? What's going on, guys? How is everybody? Like, today, I'm really talking about saving money. I think saving money is a scam in some ways. You know, I think it's a scam because our dollars are being eaten away by inflation. And I don't think that saving money is going to be much of a benefit, especially Christina. Hello. Hey, bro. What's going on? But I'm saying, like, in terms of like building wealth, like, I don't think saving money will get you to building wealth. If you want to build your wealth, like, saving your money is not going to get you there. I think when you learn about investing, like different investments, when you learn about, stock markets, financial markets, when you learn things about that, when you learn about how to identify opportunities, businesses, franchises, um, Fortune 500 companies, when you learn how to identify opportunities, then that's how you become wealthier. That's how you become richer, is by identifying opportunities in front of you. By identifying, okay, what problems need to be solved. This is how entrepreneurs get rich. They solve problems, and I think that's a very important part in building wealth. You have to learn how to solve problems, especially in society, because you're not paid for how long you work, but you're paid for your value, right? You could work for an hour, but how valuable is the work that you do in that hour? You know what I'm saying? So what's going on, Mila Gamer? Thank you guys for coming on today. I'm talking about, like, I think that saving money is a scam. Like, let me know you guys' thoughts. Like, what do you guys think about saving money? I think you also have to be intentional with saving your money. Like, are you saving it for an emergency? Are you saving it for a house? Like, I think that's worth saving for. Maybe a house could be debatable as well. But if you're saving it for an emergency, I think that's a good move. But if you're trying to save your way to wealth, like, I don't think it's the way, honestly. I don't think it's the way at all. But I think just identifying opportunities, seeing what problems need to be solved, like, that's how you get rich. You know, that's how you get rich. Can you guys hear me? Let me know if you guys can hear me. But hello. Can you guys hear me? Let me know. Let me know if you guys can hear me. I see one person in the chat. Can you guys hear me on the chat? Hello to everybody coming in. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Hello. But yeah, I think saving money from my perspective is, I think it's a scam. You know, I think it's something that we have to unlearn. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's something that, like, we just have to, like, really evaluate and say, like, is this legitimate? I see hundreds in the thank you guys for the likes. But, like, I think it's something we really have to look into. Like, is it really gonna serve a purpose in saving money? Like, what am I saving money for? You know, is this the best way that I can grow wealth? Is this the best way to live my life? And, you know, if once you start asking questions like that, and, you know, the answer is no, it's like, okay, what changes can we make? You know, so you kind of have to evaluate what we've been taught in school, because in school, and by our parents, like, a lot of society teaches us to save money. A lot of society teaches us to, oh, hoard money, don't be reckless. And yes, it's good not to be reckless and spend it on gambling and spend it on alcohol and booze and drugs. I mean, that's a good thing. Saving your money that way, that's, I think that's great. I think that's great. But saving your money to wealth is just not going to cut it. You know, for me, I don't think it's going to cut it. I think you grow your wealth by investments and finding opportunities and creating opportunities. That's how you build wealth. You know, I think I want to say this too. Robert Kiyosaki, right? I don't know if you guys know about Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad guy. And he says, like, he says, um, 80% of people, I don't mean to be, like, controversial here, but, like, I'm just giving what I've learned from him. Like this is his stats. But he said if 80% of people were given $10,000, they would blow it in a year. He would say about maybe like 16%, they'd probably put it in a savings account. And then the 4% would expand that money. So it's like they would, so basically the 4% capitalized off of the $10,000 that they were given. And it's very interesting. It's like people do different things with 10,000. Some people would put it in a savings account. Some people would blow it the next day. Well, most people would probably blow it the next day. And then the 4%, they would expand it. So we got to learn, and I think this is what I'm learning now. Like, we got to learn how to expand our money. We got to learn how to, okay, how are people turning $10,000 into 1 million? How are they turning 10 grand into 50 grand? You know, so like these are the questions we got to ask. And one way that I've discovered is by financial market trading, learning about that, connecting with people that already know how to do that, and finding opportunities in that. That's how, you know, you find you know, that's how you build your wealth. You work with people that know the game already. You know, you work with a system that, you know, you work with people that already know how to build wealth. That's how you get wealthy. That's how people turn $10,000 into 1 million. They work with people that already know the game. They work with people that know how to stack bread and stack wealth. And I know this is a very sensitive topic, but I really want to talk about this. Like, you got to work with the people that that know what they're doing, basically. And, you know, you got to work with people that know how to trade in the financial markets. You know, even if it requires an investment, you know, like you gotta think of the possibilities when building wealth. You gotta think of, okay, what is possible in my current situation? You know, I might have all these limitations. You know, I might not have a lot of money right now. I might not be in the best living situation. But you got to think of, okay, what's possible? How can I turn my life around? You know, what can I do to expand my wealth? You know, even though I may have very little, what can I do to grow my money? You know, what are some ways I can grow my money? And when you start asking those questions, then you're going to get, you know, you're going to search for answers, right? You're going to search for answers and ask more questions. And those questions and answers compound over time. And then you're like, wow, I reached my goal already because you asked so many uh, questions and ran into a lot of answers. So I think we got to really, you know, question, is saving money legitimate? Right? We got to question, like, is saving money going to lead me to wealth? Or is it going to lead me to security? Do I want security or do I want wealth? And there's a difference. Security is saying, oh, I'm comfortable with what I have and where I am right now. That's security. Building wealth, that's like abundance. It's like, oh, there's no cap on how much I can make. Oh, there's no cap on what I can do. Like, that's wealth. You know, and people might say this idea is corrupt and building wealth is corrupt, but it's how you do it. It's it's not the action itself that's bad. Building wealth isn't inherently bad, but it's how you do it. What are your ethics behind it? You know, like, am I tricking people, or am I doing this ethically? Like, there's ethics in building wealth. So not all wealth is bad wealth. And I think that's another thing that a lot of us have been taught. Like, we've been taught that building, like, all wealth is bad wealth. And that's not inherently always true. We got to figure out legitimate ways to lead to legitimate, we got to figure out legitimate and ethical ways to build wealth. That's how I see it. You gotta look for ways to make it out of your situation. And there's opportunities in front of you, and opportunities that you might not realize you have. And that's what I did. I said, hey, I can learn financial market trading, and then, hey, is there anyone that I could work with that knows financial market trading, So I think, like, you got to start asking questions like that. Like, who can I work with? Can I work with a business that helps me trade? Can I have somebody manage my funds for me? Um, can I start a business? Right? Like, these are all questions, like, we all got to ask. Like, hey, like, how do I build wealth? You know, it's and you don't necessarily have to think about how much you're going to invest. Yeah, you do. You can, you need an investment a lot of times, but a lot of other times it's like you can get creative and say, okay, how can I come up with the funds? Like, you'll find a way. And one thing I heard from, I think it was this rapper. He said, people always run into money. No matter who you are, where you are, people always run into money. So in your life, you're gonna run into money, but it's what you do with it. It's what you do with the money you encounter. Okay, you might have money today, but if you use it gambling or blowing it on booze and alcohol and vodka and Hennessy, if you're blowing your money on Hennessy, you're going to be broke. You'll be broke the next day. Okay. But if you use it in an investment, right? Let's say you have 10 grand, right? You use that 10 grand into investment. You can make that 10 grand $1 million. You can make that 10 grand into like 20 grand. Like, even double that you can make. So you gotta really, like, ask the questions, like, is saving money a scam? And to me, I think it is. I think it's, you really gotta question, and you gotta really learn about money. You gotta learn how finances work. You gotta learn how businesses run. You gotta learn about a little bit about accounting, the income statement, right? The income statement, assets, liabilities. What would you consider an asset and what would you consider a liability? You got to learn about taxes, real estate, entrepreneurship, trading. Like, these are some topics that can lead you to get more money in life. Like, when you learn different financial topics, right? When you learn different things like that, then that's how you open your mind. That's how you expand your mind. And you're going to start to question, like, have I been taught, like, the things that I've been taught, were they wrong? You know what I'm saying? You got to ask questions about things. You got to ask even about saving money. Like you can't just go along with it. And yeah, saving money, putting money aside for emergencies, I think it's great. I think it's, if you don't really have it, I think it's great. But just know that your money is being eaten away by inflation. So putting money aside is great, but you also have to have another plan. Like, what is your expansion plan? Like, how are you going to expand that? You know what I mean? So that's what I think about. Um, is saving money a scam? I think it is. Honestly, I think it is. I don't know what some of you guys think. Like, what do you guys think about saving money? I think saving money is a scam in some ways. I really do think it is. Like, I think we I think we've been tricked. Honestly, I think from the time we were growing up as kids to now, like I don't know how old everybody is, but like from the time we're kids to now, like I don't know, man. I think we've been tricked. I really do. But yeah, man, I think we've been tricked, man. When we're, and yes, we need employment. Yes, we need to make a living, but we can also expand by, just by a few thoughts, you know, and we can expand by asking the right questions, asking questions in general, and then getting the answers from different sources, you know. I think that's how you figure out, like, is it legitimate or is it not? That's what I think. Take, you know, do whatever you want with what I'm saying right now. You guys honestly don't have to listen to me, but I'd say that, saving money, I think is a scam. I think we've been conned, bro. I really think we've been conned. And we got to figure out ways to expand our money besides putting it in a savings account and collecting like 4% a year. Like, I mean, yeah, it's put money aside, but also remember your money is being eaten by inflation, because a dollar today is not going to be the dollar tomorrow, because a dollar today, the purchasing power of cash today is more than it will ever be in the future. That's that's what I think, you know. But honestly, y'all, like I think it's a scam in a way. In some ways, I think it's a scam. But I just wanted to come on here real quick and just say, like, man, that's what I think. I think more people should learn about money, and it can help a lot of people's financial situations, So, but that's what I think about money, and I think that it's a scam in a lot of ways, but you know, but that's my thoughts. But I hope everyone has a great day. Peace out, everybody. Thank you guys for coming on. Have a great day, everybody. Peace.